I want to dive into a really important but quite challenging topic today, which is the impact on an adult when, as a child, they felt that they weren't wanted, weren't accepted, weren't loved, weren't approved of. Now, you're going to know immediately if this is definitely relevant for you, but don't necessarily discount this video until you've heard what I've had to say, because this is actually a wider spread thing than you might think. Okay. So some people will have felt, and this is about feeling unwanted, right? It's not necessarily that you were unwanted, but some people will feel that they were unwanted as a child because very acute things happened to them. For example, they were adopted, there was a divorce, and then one parent went off and had another family, and then they felt like they weren't needed, right? They're like kind of obvious examples, but there might also be situations where parents were very stressed and very checked out, and the child felt like an inconvenience, or the child basically just got messaging that they weren't wanted, or that they weren't wanted as they were, right? So maybe they weren't sporty enough, or they weren't clever enough, or they weren't thin enough. And so the messaging was interpreted, rightly or wrongly, I'm not here to like bag out people's parents, by the child, that they were in some way deficient, right? And the underlying might be, if mum couldn't love me, then I'm unlovable. If dad didn't want me, then I'm unwantable. Okay. And it's very, very easy, again, as adults, to be like, but that was a long time ago. And look at all that I've achieved now. And look what I've managed to do with my life. And yes, right, we're not going to take away from that. What you have achieved is incredible. And at the same time, when you carry that I wasn't wanted, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough patterns, beliefs in your system, it can often have some consequences as an adult that you might not necessarily see and be joining the dots of. So, for example, if your core belief is, I'm not lovable, I'm not wanted, I'm not good enough, you will go to great lengths to compensate for this, to try and make up for what you see as a deficiency in yourself. So that might be excessive people pleasing, overworking. You might diet excessively. Like if you were told as a child that you weren't okay because you weren't a certain shape, then you might, as an adult, be trying to compensate. And you might be terrified of people realizing or seeing that you aren't worthy or aren't valuable or aren't lovable. And so you're kind of over giving constantly. You avoid conflict. You are like overly agreeable. You're very, very nice. You take an awful lot on so that you're kind of protected from this, the potential attack, or from like people seeing what you might hold as your core belief underneath. And it's so, so important. First of all, we talk about this. Who talks about this stuff? You know, you don't see very often like highly successful people talking about the fact of, actually, I've been so successful because as a child, I felt like shit. And so I've been trying to make up for it. And so, but so many people carry these patterns. And then they've got the shame of what sits underneath. It's not talked about. People don't realize that it's super common. And so everyone is continuing to overgive, over people please, push themselves. And then we wonder why we are in a state now where everyone is stressed, burnout is at an all-time high, and people are generally like pushing themselves to the point where they're no longer well. So if you identify this, or even some of this, even a part of this, like just be curious and be like, could I have some of this? Um, the good news is, right, our brains are plastic. Epigenetics means that we can change our, like everything, the DNA and all of the rest of it. And the work is, as an adult, to reparent yourself so that you become the good parent. And so you build your own self-esteem, right? It is a crying shame when you didn't have that knowledge and understanding of your inherent goodness and your inherent worth and your inherent lovability when you were a kid. Because as an adult, it means you have to fight for it and you have to build it from the ground up. And do you know what? It's okay to feel very sad about that. It's okay to feel very angry about that. It's okay to feel inordinately pissed off that you have to go and pay for therapy or coaching so that you can give yourself the stuff that your parents should have given you but didn't. Like all of that stuff is okay. It's very, very normal. And it doesn't detract from the fact that that's kind of what has to happen in order for you to be someone who can exist in the world feeling good about yourself, feeling confident, still being driven, still being ambitious, still being successful, but without that drive of trying to do it to compensate, to make up for, because all the time that drive is there, you will keep pushing, keep overworking, keep doing all of these things to yourself that are completely unnecessary because who you are is incredible, wonderful, valuable, worthy, lovable, just as is, without the promotion or the pay rise or the car or the house or whatever it is that is your thing. But getting to that place is a learning process, and it is a learning process that you can absolutely do without losing yourself or the success that you have built, because so often these patterns result in like outward lots of success, incredible performance, huge salaries, these incredible lifestyles, and there is this underlying fear, maybe even terror of, but if I look at this stuff, if I stop pushing, then does that mean all of this is going to go away? Now, some of it might, like you might choose stuff that feels so important now might not feel that important anymore because you're like, oh, I no longer need to prove around this thing. So I'm not going to do that anymore. But it doesn't necessarily. And so what I really wanted to do in this video was just create more awareness, normalize this topic a little bit, but also just to let you know, you are lovable, you are worthy. I'm sorry that your parents didn't give you what you needed, even if that was in a major way or just in a minor way. And now as an adult, you can choose to do the work to unwind some of these behaviors so that you get to live an experience that is so much calmer, so much more free, and do it your way. So I hope this has resonated. I do not expect you to engage on this video. I appreciate it's kind of a topic that probably isn't one that you want to be like, yes, I totally resonate with this. But if you do and you want to come and crack on, come and find me though, in like email me, messages, whatever. Come and reach out to me if this has resonated. I'd love to hear from you on a completely confidential basis. And take care. Keep an eye out for the next video. I want to do something that's kind of just a little bit longer, a little bit more training based, probably once a week. So if you want, subscribe to my YouTube. That's probably the best place to do it. Then go and find me on YouTube. And I will see you very soon. Take care.